What do we say when we go live? We're live.
We're live. We did it.
Well, I mean, I'm going to just say this. I am talking to Diva, and she just got married last
weekend. I did.
I'm just so delighted for you. Congratulations. You're shining. You're absolutely shining.
Thank you so much.
So I have grabbed you for, a little conversation in what has been a big challenge for me personally, Xmen, relationships and Xmen. And for those of you watching, Diva's going to tell us, so where would we like to start with this conversation?
That is a great question. Well, I mean, this came up because I think you and I have been for years, just over the years that we've known each other in one way or another, talking about Xmen and relationships and how to have a relationship when you're aware of so many different things, including the other person's reality, whether it's, a lover, a work colleague, or whatever. So, I mean, Rachel and I love this topic, and yeah, we just thought we would come and have a chat now, and that's it, really.
So I suppose what I would like to ask you is, for me, one of the big challenges in being aware of, so many thoughts and feelings, emotions. Feelings was probably the biggest one for me.
Yeah.
And then you giving me the question, what are you aware of? And the one that I remember early days, is that feeling mine, or is it something that I'm aware of? Have I this feeling, or is it something I'm aware of? So for me, I have to say that one tool transformed how I felt. That, like, I'm not joking, Diva. That one tool actually changed how I functioned in the world.
That is awesome. How does it get better? Yeah, honestly, like that, like, who does this belong to? Is this mine? Those tools from Access Consciousness are like, they've saved me. And I know that I'm a bit dramatic anyway, but for once I'm not being dramatic.
You're really Colombian. You're allowed to be.
Exactly. Hello. Pardon my notes.
Have fun.
Exactly. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things, if we're talking about like relationships for Xmen, like, you might be wondering, one, what is Xmen? But two, why would it be different or relevant? And just to kind of not backtrack, but give you guys a little bit of context. So Xmen, you may have heard of the Access Xmen specialty class, which is basically where we look at everything from things that are considered labels of disability in this reality, say OCD to ADHD, autism, and so much more. And we see it all as a capacity, not as a disability. We see the ability in it. So if you're looking at that, like, one of the things that Xmen are great at is perceiving everyone else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions so intensely that they think that it's theirs. And so when you are in relationship of any kind, how often are you just aware of what it is that's going on for the other person? And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but people aren't so honest with themselves, let alone with others, about what it is that's going on for them. So it's not like they're going to go up to you and be like, oh, I'm having doubts about my job. So you might just be aware of this energy of doubt about your job, think it's yours, and then start creating your life from that. Which is why for a lot of Xmen, it can be quite hard to be around people, because of everything that people have going on in their worlds. For them, it's like a lot of information.
I'm so grateful that you're talking about this, because the way like I started dating again recently, and I'd go on a date and I'd wake up the next morning being like, oh, I don't even want to work today. And I love working, like, what I'm like. I'm like, I'll just toot away happily in my apartment, and I would be like, huh? So what occurs is that what you said about someone might not have that level of presence with themselves and how they're functioning, and then we actually, if we act like what we're receiving is who we are, And so this is huge for us, and I get this is how come a lot of us like to have a lot of time on our own, so we can have that space, you know.
Yeah, and you know, like it's so funny because you touched on like a few really cool things there, and like when you are around somebody, it is really, really easy to just be aware of their universe. Like really easy. You know, I mean, if you've ever gone out for coffee with a friend, a really happy friend, and you're suddenly happier after, well, how much are you aware of that person's universe, you know? And if you go out with another friend for lunch and perhaps there's someone who's really depressed, how depressed does that make you, you know? And so this is where we don't even realize how much of this stuff that we're aware of is not cognitive. You know, 99% of it is energetic. So unless you're asking questions, is this mine? Is this someone else's? Is this my reality? It's very easy to get drawn into thinking that it's all yours. And then you're trying to fix something that actually isn't yours, which is why it doesn't change. But even in, you know, in what you were saying as well, like relationship in this reality is really, it's the distance between two objects. That's the definition of relationship. And I love Simone Milasas and Brandon Watt.
I was just about to ask you about it.
Oh my God, I love those classes. So they do these classes called Relationship Done Different, and they've got like a book called Relationship, Are You Sure You Want One? Then there's the Access book, Divorces, Relationships. Anyway, there's a ton of really cool stuff. But what I love that they talk about too is that, you know, like relationship in this reality is the distance between two objects. And recently I was speaking with Gary, and he was like, you know, what if instead of looking for what separates you from other people, you're always looking for the possibilities. And that was such a, it's such a simple thing, but really it's huge.
And this is the thing too, that, you know, you would have told me early days about Xmen don't do separation. There's no separate worlds, and we're in communion with everything. And until, for me, one of the big things is I've got to use these tools all the time. It's and I don't mean I don't even really have to speak them now. Whereas what I would like to say anyone watching is that, oh, just a simple thing of like, who does this belong to, continuously. And, you know, it is huge when someone tells you, actually, none of this is yours. You just have a phenomenal capacity. Now, and I do want to say something. You said, if you go out for coffee with a friend, I've just come from having coffee with Liz by the water.
That's hilarious.
So also there's a level of psychic ability, not being like, oh, your thoughts, your mother's in the room. It's not, oh, there's Diva's grandmother. You know, it's not that. It's more like that you can pick up like, oh, Rachel just went for coffee with Liz by the water in Maastricht. It's this ability to be aware of past, present, and future that no one had invited me to. So yeah. So you were doing, I am going to talk about this. You're doing a 3-part telecall, 22nd, 25th, 29th of July. I'm going to be dramatic too now. I would be dead. My son would absolutely be dead. I know you love him. You were fantastic to Dara. Diva was in my house one time and she was thinking of cod and chips, and this boy walks in the door with cod and chips for Diva. So he, like, these tools, if you are judging yourself as depressed and you can't do relationship, they will allow you to actually, I would say, build a new relationship with yourself first, which is the biggest part for me anyway, personally, that I get to access me, and then build the ability to be in relationship with everything around you without locking yourself in a room for, you know, weeks, or going off to a Buddhist retreat center on the side a cliff, so you don't have to block all the thoughts, feelings, and emotions out, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting because, I mean, even going back to what you said about like as an Xmen, you just really like having your own space, like you like having space. And I think that's a really cool thing to acknowledge, because so often we're told that that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't really want to have space. You should want to be surrounded by people. And I know that for me, the moment that I really recognized, no, I actually just really enjoy my own space, being around people then became easier, because I wasn't judging myself for when I was choosing to have my own space. So I just want to put that out there too, because this isn't necessarily about finding a relationship. You know, it's like you were saying, Rachel, like, what's your relationship like with you, with your family, with your friends, with your neighbors? Even when you go out in public and there are lots of people around, what's your relationship like with that? What's your relationship like with this reality?
I was just
with your
about,
life?
so
Yeah.
I adore you. That's what I was about to say. For my whole life, I genuinely didn't know, and I don't say who I am by definition, but I genuinely didn't access my reality because I was aware of other people's realities and acting out their realities and playing out, because this is one of the things that we do too, folks. We play out people's points of views in relationships. And now it's like I've actually begun to get a sense of my reality, you know? So this is just far more than a relationship call. I'm just so grateful for you. I was one of the people that was saying, Diva, can you do something, you know, on relationships? And if you're out there and you really would like to have more peace with your relationship with you, which will allow you to receive you more, and then that will allow you to receive from other people, come join us. Come join us and check Diva out. She's been looking to get Xmen information out to the world for a while now, and
yeah, only like 10 years, you know.
Yeah, exactly. and your commitment to it is something that I'm truly grateful for. And you said, you're welcome. You said something to me the other day. I said something about Xmen. You like, they're brilliant at everything. If you're out there, every place you think you're wrong, you're strong.
Oh my goodness, that is so true. And I just have to say, I never really even thought I wanted to have a relationship again. Just so you know, I was just like,
I
no,
knew this.
I'm not. Yeah, right. Like you know, you definitely knew that about me. And I was just like, don't have the time. I've got my own stuff going on. There's always too much drama. I just not really into it. And the interesting thing with that was just the judgments that I had and the conclusions of what it would be. Like, it would probably be too much work, or it just wouldn't work out, or blah blah blah. You know how
You wouldn't
how
be
we
able to do
create so
your
much
own
for ourselves.
thing. You'd be able to, you know,
Exactly.
you'd
And
have
that I
to
wouldn't have time.
compromise.
Exactly. All of that stuff. And then the moment that I just kind of relaxed into it, and I was like, do you know what? If something shows up that is a contribution to my life, and where I get to like produce 20 times more than I do, and I am significantly happier and my world is more expansive, I might go for it. And just the relaxation of that, without having a fixed point of view, allowed a relationship to show up. But I just wanted to put that out there, because like I said, this isn't about trying to get the right relationship or anything. It really is, because I realized for me, oh, if I'm judging any area of my life as something that I don't want to have, I don't want to have this, I don't want to have that, how much am I excluding myself? How much am I allowing myself to receive, you know, just from people who might desire to contribute to me, or from everything, you know? Yeah.
Someone just put on the chat, no relationship, I just got married.
Yeah, just went straight to marriage. No, okay. We had a relationship, we just didn't tell everybody.
Exactly. And I have to say, I'm one of the people that got to witness the two of you together, and the level of caring, and fun and joy and honor of each other in your world, it is just so inspiring to me that you actually can create something, if you choose to, that works for you. Because I think so often we all come to the conclusion, I'm never doing that again. It's just such a joy, the way that you gift and contribute to each other and make each other's lives greater. I mean, how does it get any better than that?
Well, yeah. And what if every relationship in your life can make everything greater? Yeah. And it doesn't mean that they'll all be great. You know, there'll be some relationships that are challenging. There will be some that you're just like, oh, why do I need to be here? You know, but what if the choice is for you to commit to your life And that's what actually you're creating relationships from, not what you don't want, not what you've decided is a problem, but from the possibility of, hey, I'm committed to my life and to creating as greatly as I can. That's not even a word, but
it's so funny. I met with someone today, and she grew up with a mom that had a lot of lack in her universes, in lack of caring, lack of these lack of.
yeah,
I get that you'll talk about this. I would really look forward to a big conversation in this.
yeah,
And she had like mimicked that, and she was bringing it into her own relationships. So one of the things I know that you'll always talk about is that you cannot ever fulfill anyone to. You can't expect anyone to fill a lack in your world, that there's nothing missing. And it's only when you get that true sense of that space and
yeah,
gift of everything to yourself. That's the greatest relationship, that you don't expect anyone to give you, that you can gift everything to you. And I get that that's where it all begins. And I can't wait for
yeah.
conversations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, truly. And even like, I mean, there are often people that come to the Xmen classes, and they, of course, want to improve the relationships that they have with the Xmen in their lives, whether they're Xmen kids, Xmen adults. And Xmen sometimes seems like it's hard to get through to them or to create that connection, because they don't actually create connection the same way that people do in this reality. They don't do it based on the separation. They don't do it based on the judgment. They don't do it based on, I gave you 3 hugs, so that shows you that I love you 3%.
It's so weird. Yeah, it's just so weird. Yeah, it's just
exactly. And so, but even acknowledging that and acknowledging, okay, so what else is possible here with these Xmen to actually create also like what they're inviting us to, but also for you to be the leader in that, not just waiting for them to come up with it, because they're also not told that they have access to these amazing access tools. They're not.
I'm just getting. I'm right now. I can even sense people, like, if there's even an obligation in an Xmen's world, we're gone out the front door. If you're coming in the back, we're gone. So that's another thing, that if there's kindness with obligation, or an obligated gifting, or not gifting, because it's not obligated. So this is such. I've only just realized with this conversation, this is a big topic. It is, yeah.
It really is. And I'd say that like the energetics of it is, something that we're going to look at a lot in the class, because that's really going to be how you can actually start to create something very, very different with Xmen. And I do have to say, in addition, that Simone Milicis and Brendan Watt are doing a class on the same weekend. It's a 3-day class. It starts on Saturday. So I think Saturday's the 25th, is it, or the 24th?
24th.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Saturday 25th.
Was it?
Yeah, I know. I've been, all the dates during COVID just mixed together. But theirs is a 3-day class. So guys, I highly recommend that if you want to look at the area of relationship more, please go there too. What I'm doing is like a 3-part call, and it is going to be focused on Xmen and relationships, but there's so much material available. And I actually, when I did my first relationship done different class with those guys, I was like, all right, I was hosting it. So I was like, yeah, I love this. Like, I basically love everything that they do. So they could do a class on like how to grow carrots, and I would be there.
You'd be there.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, relationship is my thing. I was like, whatever. And when I got there, oh my Lord, what changed was like my entire universe, because I didn't realize how I'd kind of cut this area out, thinking it doesn't apply to me. I'm not interested in a relationship. Yeah, but really my relationship with everything changed. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No. I the two of us are just so in the energetics of it now, and we genuinely are excited that we've access tools that allow us to actually be happy and create whether it be friendships, work relationships that actually contribute to us. And you said something, all receiving is 100% energetic, and you said you'd get into the energetics. This is what changed for me. Yeah, we won't really go into that in the live. You gotta come join us, because it's a much bigger conversation. So yeah, so the energetics, I can't wait. I'm the host of this class. Message me if you require any information. There's a whole team here in this. And Diva, thank you so much. And one of the things about you is thanks for showing up. One of the things that I really have respect for is when people show up and they go, here is where I have been challenged. Here's where I just had to keep going until I got what works for me. And thank you for always keeping going and being here for all of us with the Xmen. Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise for you. I mean, access facilitators are some of the most courageous, resilient people I know. Really.
It's certainly not for the weak at heart.
Yeah.
Thanks a million. Check us out. I put the link here, and come join us. Okay. Enjoy your husband, Victoria. Ciao, Bella.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.